That's what we normally do, isn't it?
I actually didn't know there was a difference. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Azila's Life Whispering Sessions. And this is a free hangout for all of us to get a taste of her amazingness and her ability to actually. I love it when I echo. Anyway, to actually whisper into any space and area that is messing things the way that, as she puts it, are incongruent in your life. They're not in sync with how you would like them to be. Take it away, Adila.
Hey, hi everyone. Yeah, thank you, Jalika, because this what we're talking about today, it's actually showing up in your life and creating abundance. And that's something that I was I'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. But since we decided that that was the call we were going to do, kind of like over the last 2 weeks, I've had so much more information and awareness come to me on that topic. As I'm sure you all kind of know, when you start contemplating a certain area of your life, it starts to open up and says, and those whispers or those secrets become more evident to you, because the universe is looking for people to play with, and it's looking for you to live the most conscious and wonderful and abundant life that you're able to. And it's actually really sad when we don't live that life to the full degree and the full extent that we're able to. And that's part of why I do what I do, and that's part of why I'm doing this free call today, because, you know, no matter whether a call or a session is free or it's paid for, whether it's a beginner session or an advanced class, I will always give you 100% of what I can on that topic. I will always deliver as much as I'm able to. And so that's what today's going to be about. And then we will move into life whispering a little bit. And life whispering is just what's evolved out of body whispering. Body whispering classes and sessions are still happening, and they're really amazing sessions and classes. But as Tulika mentioned, what's happened is people have started that it's not just applicable to your bodies. When we get into these classes and sessions, we start talking about anything and everything. We're talking about business, and we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about how you be in the world. And hence we've kind of created Life Whispering Club as a follow-on from Body Whispering. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about that today, because if you can start to have that relationship with every area of your life, that is the kind of relationship that I work really hard to promote with bodies, which is an intimate and a vulnerable and a congruent relationship, then you start to have a life that's really magical. And that stuff really excites me, because I actually do have a life that's really magical, and I have experiences that are really magical, just like many of us, just like many of you do. I know you do. But sometimes that we have greatness happening in one area, and we have lots of shit occurring in another area. And so what I want to look at is how can we get more congruent in all of those areas, so that we can have lives that are amazing across the board, and that when things don't go according to plan, because part of this call we're going to talk about when things don't go according to plan and you're not being congruent, how do you get back on the horse? How do you get back into the magic of your life, as opposed to feeling like you've just kind of struck out in a certain area? So yeah, that's my little spiel. And speaking of magic, I've just remembered that I'm also, if you want another opportunity to listen to me talk for free, I'm on the Moments of Magic Tele Summit happening with Neelofer Safdar, and I'll be speaking on this Friday on her summit as well. So if you're wanting a little bit more groundwork and a little bit more information, because I get that a lot of you, I mean, we've had so many registrations come in from all over the world, and it's really exciting, but a lot of you don't know me. I've never met you. I've had registrations come in from India and Canada and America, and it's so heartwarming, guys. So thank you for Thank you for being willing to have this conversation and being willing to hear what I have to say and seeing if it is of value to you. So I appreciate you for showing up. And I'd love to now start talking about how we can all show up in our lives and create more abundance. So yeah, that's me. Tulika, for those of you that have joined us, Tulika has talked a little bit about how to raise your hand and ask a question. But basically in my sessions or classes, if you have a question, you know, just yell it out or kind of wait for an appropriate gap and ask away, so that I can always speak to the energy that's present, as opposed to making you wait till the end of the call. And if something's not relevant, or if I want to talk about it in a little while, I'll just let you know. Okay.
You just might have to unmute yourself to do that, because I've muted all of you. There's a whole bunch of background noise.
Tulika's the boss as usual, so listen to it. There's not what I say.
Just the unmuting bit.
So when I was in India at my class at the beginning of the year, they really liked it when I gave them steps. Like they really liked, I had like a 6-step process for something and a 3-step process for something else. And it's actually quite fun. It's fun for me too. So for this class, what I've actually done is, like I said, I've had so much information coming to me over the last few weeks, and I've just gone, okay, what are the 3 steps to showing up in your life and creating more abundance? So the secret that I'm going to share with you today are the 3 steps that if you really practice these 3 steps, it's going to create more abundance for you in any area of your life. And over the last, little while, I've been talking about what abundance means to me. And that's basically to have an abundance of love and appreciation and feeling like you have God's gifts in that area. And I don't just relate it to money and material wealth and material things, even though I do think that's a really important area. And I'll definitely be talking about money and finances and material wealth and abundance. But abundance is applicable to everything. And in fact, I think it's actually a state of being, like whether or not you walk through life feeling abundant in everything you have or not. So do you feel abundant in your relationships? Do you feel abundant with your health and with the relationship you have with your body? And do you feel abundant with the friendships that you have? And do you feel abundant in your business and in your ability to create business or streams of income, or in your ability to go through this life knowing that everything is available to you if you choose it? So that, to me, just to lay the groundwork for what I think abundance is about, is it's applicable across the board. With your family, do you feel abundant with the family that you have and the type of relationships that you have with your family? And if you don't feel that you are, how do you either create that, or how do you look at the areas where, while you may not have it in a way that is really black and white, if you kind of look below the surface, how are you abundant in that area? So those are the things that we're going to kind of talk about. But as I mentioned, sometimes I'm like, okay, how am I even qualified to talk about this? Don't ever doubt that I don't put myself through the greatest amount of the 3rd degree to make sure that, I am someone that even I would even want to hear what I have to say on the topic, because it's important for me to be authentic, to be congruent, and to feel like I am delivering value to you if I'm talking to you for any reason, whether you're my friend and I'm talking to you about a certain topic, or whether I'm running a class on that topic. What I say should bring value to you. And so when I run my classes or choose my topics, there are certain things you'll never hear me talking about, and that's just because I don't feel I'm yet at a place where you need to hear what I say on those topics, because there's other facilitators and teachers who do an amazing job in that area. But the reason abundance came up is where I am in my life, and I don't know how how you guys create your life. So I'd actually be interested to hear where you're at with this. You know, are you someone that kind of gets somewhere and goes, oh my God, how did I get here? And you turn around and you look at wonder and amazement at where you are, which is what I've done with, you know, with my life right now, hence I'm talking to you. So then I went, oh, how did I get here? And I went back and I looked at it, and then I came up with the steps, and now I'm sharing it with you. And, or do you have quite a logical approach, and do you actually really have a plan about where you want to go in your life and what you want to create and what you want your life to be? And do you kind of check in along the way to make sure you're heading in that direction? And to be honest, I'm probably more like that with my business, or when I'm running my businesses, I much more have a checkpoint, have accountability, kind of check in with the direction I'm going on a regular basis. But, you know, talking about the abundance, literally like I think about 2 weeks ago, like my husband came home with a Maserati. You know, he went out and bought himself a Maserati, and I was like, that for me was a moment where I just went, how did we get here? And you know, 2 weeks before,
Awesome.
4 weeks before that, we'd gotten back from like a 5-week-long holiday, you know, living it up. And I was like, how are we doing this? And then, you know, a year ago from that, we moved into this multi-million-dollar home that just fills my soul. And so those are material things that I'm talking about. I'm talking about material abundance in that sense. But when I talk about anything on this call, I do believe that it's pretty translatable to any area of your life, abundance across any area. And I know a lot of people, to be honest, are interested in how to create financial abundance and material wealth, because it is a contribution to your life. And so that's why I kind of then went, okay, so how did I get here? And I turned around and I looked at my life over the last few years, and I looked at how did I get from where I was to where I am today. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'll just have a quick kind of break to see if there's any questions. If there's anyone who wants to throw anything out there that they want to make sure I cover over the course of the call, yell it out or type it out. Otherwise, I'll just keep going.
If you have questions and you're asking them, you might want to unmute yourself. Hitler to लिखा added.
Well,
Sonali, do you have something? I thought she was talking. Did you have a question, Sonali?
Right. So no, not really a question, but like when you said that, I went back and I'm looking at how did I create all of this abundance. I'd love to. So does that come from a sense of gratitude, in the sense that you go back and you kind of be in gratitude for all that you have created in terms of abundance, or
110% gratitude, and also a little bit of what I talked about, like, and that amazement, but also being aware that you did play an instrumental part in creating it. And this is great because we're getting into the 3-step process now, so we're definitely going to cover this stuff, so don't you worry. But yeah, basically I looked back and I went not only with a lot of gratitude but also with curiosity, because you know, when I said I looked around and I said, how did I get here? And this is amazing, but we're actually verging on, this is greater than what I could have imagined, and it's happened quicker than I could have imagined. I'm not 40 or 50 or 60 or you know, retired and have worked hard, nor have either. Another reason I look at it with curiosity and amazement is because both my husband and myself, we come from, you know, good families, probably what you describe as middle class families, but neither of us have had any money to fall back on. This is all something that's been created over the last 3 years, from zero to 100 or whatever you want, however you want to look at it. It's been actually created. It hasn't been, we haven't really had the momentum off the back of inherited wealth or a family business that we've created this from. So I was really curious as to like, how did we get here? This is really cool. So I will talk to you about that more. Any other questions?
On a similar line, Mile has written, please talk about how to create abundance in areas of finances, sales, business, and creating business of my dream with tons of money flowing in.
Yeah, my
Me too.
Yeah. Anyone who doesn't want abundance, you can get off the call now.
But I have to tell you this. Just this morning, I was having a meeting with someone, and she's somebody who's known me for a while, pretty much pre-Access, and then she got into Access as well. And she was talking about what I had spoken of, and I literally came up with a word for it. I'm like, I'm a creative ninja. I'm very creative. I can create so much, but I'm a ninja because I don't know how I did it. I'm like,
but then I don't know what I did because I was so ninja-y about
I was
it.
so ninja about it that I have no clue. So I was like, I'm this is gonna be my new word for me and this is amazing that we're talking about it. Obviously, this always happens. I talk about something, then you totally bring it up. So I actually do want to go to that space, and not to figure out how I create it, but what else could I add and what else could I be? And I mean, of course, I love this, and actually also to have more clarity of what choices am I making that I'm not even aware of yet, including ones that work.
Yeah, and I do think the value of looking at it is also that if you don't look at it and go, how did I create it? How do you add more to it? And so then you don't then end up, 6 months from now in a situation where you didn't do any of the things that created the awesomeness that you created, and then you end up somewhere shit, like I said, because you're like, oh, well, I wasn't really aware of what I was doing. So, in a state of unawareness, I created some really cool stuff, but then I created some really undesirable stuff. And consciousness is actually about awareness and creating awareness around what you do, what you choose, and what it creates in the future. So I'm really all for looking at things and increasing my level of awareness at every step of the way, so then I can add. So, okay, let's go with the 3-step process. Okay, so the number one step for creating abundance is, number one, you might not be able to see this, it's immense, overwhelming gratitude. So going back to what that you just asked me about before.
Can you please flash that again?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a picture of that.
I was just having fun. Okay, you guys are so cute. I want to go back to what you asked me about gratitude, because the extent of gratitude that I'm talking about is that it literally fills up my body, and it feels like I'm overflowing and I'm going to burst with gratitude. And so, when I said, okay, I went back and looked at how did I get to this place. When we moved from, I was living in Australia, and then we moved to New Zealand, and that's what I'm talking about. Kind of the last 18 months is how long we've been in New Zealand, and that's how long it's been since we've created all these things. So we moved to New Zealand, and we bought a house. My husband bought a house, I'll be honest. My husband bought me a house. I had nothing to do with it. My husband bought a house, but my husband bought a house in Auckland. It was a 3-bedroom townhouse in the middle of a housing, they were calling it a housing crisis or a housing shortage. What's happened in the Auckland housing market in the last 3 years is it's absolutely boomed. So the median house prices in Auckland are $1 million. And none of my generation, most of our friends, cannot afford a house. And so house prices are through the roof, rental prices are through the roof. So it's really difficult to have your own home or even a decent rental. So we moved from Australia. I got married, and the next day, we moved into this 3-bedroom townhouse that my husband had bought. And it was so cute and so amazing. And I just remember having so much gratitude that in this housing crisis, when not many people that our age could even afford a house or a home or a decent place that wasn't the size of a shoebox, that we had a double-story townhouse that, you know, fulfilled all of my needs for just 2 of us. And I just remember being so grateful and thinking, oh, you know, I don't even care how long we have to live here until we're able to afford something bigger or better. This is just amazing. And I was so absolutely grateful. And, you know, 6 months later, he comes home one day and he goes, I want you to go look at this house that's on the market. And it's like a house that was twice or 4 times as big, you know, a waterfront property, $1 million plus. And I was just like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? I'm just so grateful to have our little 3-bedroom townhouse in the middle of this housing crisis. Like, there's no way we can afford that. And, you know, 1 week later, that house went to auction and we got that house. And I was just, and the amount of gratitude I had at that point was, again, through the roof. But I had so much gratitude for that 3-bedroom townhouse that was an entry-level home. And I had no point of view about needing to upgrade it or needing to move anytime soon or needing it to be bigger or better or more. I just had so much gratitude for where I was currently. And that keeps happening. So much gratitude for where we were in that home. So much gratitude for the car we had before we then upgrade and get a Maserati. So much gratitude for the business that I had, you know, currently I had 6 months ago or a year ago, and now that business is doing more and more and more. And, you know, we're getting business and we're getting media attention and we're getting opportunities that are out of this world. And it's because at every step of the way, I have just been so grateful for whatever I had, no matter how small it was, or no matter how easy it is to attain. You've got to be grateful. And if you're ever struggling to be grateful, it's actually not hard at all in today's day and age to be grateful, because you know, like most of us who are caring, empathetic people, I look at what's happening in the world. You look at images of what's happening on, you know, I'm in New Zealand, so for me the other side of the world is somewhere like Syria, or the refugee situation, or what's happening with not being able to eat food because it's all genetically modified, or so many people getting sick. Or it's really easy for us to be grateful if you've got a roof over your head, if you've got a family that you have around you, if you have food and you're not hungry. It's easy to be grateful. And I know that that might be hard to hear based on where you're currently at, because things might be going really shit for you. But I guarantee that there'll be something that you can find to be immensely grateful for. And so on that piece of paper, when I've written immense, overwhelming gratitude, I mean really sitting there and just being overwhelmed by the sense of gratitude that you have for what you have currently. Because until you acknowledge where you're currently at, you're actually not going to be able to build to it. If you're always in the future, if you're always waiting for payday to cut, if you're always waiting for, oh my God, I'm going to be rich and famous soon and then I'll be grateful, you know, you're going to keep waiting for that. So the number one step in our 3-step process is immense, overwhelming gratitude. And I absolutely encourage you to practice that every day. I mean, relationships. If you ever want to have an amazing relationship, look at your partner or look at your child or look at your pet and just be so grateful that you have someone to love and that loves you back in this world. You know, I do that all the time with my husband and it's great. I watch him sleeping like a little baby because I don't have kids. So he's my baby for now until I get a dog. Okay, so are we ready for step number 2? Any questions about gratitude? Okay, so the step number 2 is unrelentless, unwavering, faith. Okay, so when I say faith, you've got to have faith in whatever it is that you're working towards creating. And when I say faith, I don't care if that's faith in God, faith in the angels, faith in the process or the journey that you're going through, or possibly and probably most importantly, faith in yourself. But you've got to have faith, and that faith has to be unrelentless and unwavering. And what that means is, like, you don't need faith when everything's going great. You don't need faith when you are being successful, or you don't need faith when you're like, oh, this is a sure thing, you know, the money's in the bag, or my health is great. I'm talking about having the faith when everything else deserts you. Okay. And that, believe me when I say that's not easy to do. And I'll just bring in a little side note here, but all of those things that you hear about around manifesting and actualizing and the law of attraction, when they talk about focus on, or act as if, or focus on it as if it's already occurred, what I believe and what I've actually practiced and seen happen in my life is you have to have that unwavering faith that this, not only is it going to happen, it's already happened. And you feel the gratitude and the sensations and the feelings in your body. So you go through the physiological response that your body's going to go through when that thing is already done or achieved, or you've already got that thing that you're really needing or waiting or praying for. That's how you send those messages out to the universe that yes, you believe, yes, you have faith, yes, you are not going to give up. And that's when the universe delivers. So say you're really, practical example, say you're really stressed about money. You can't hold the thought, I'm stressed about money, I need to get money, where am I going to get the money from? Oh God, please help me get the money. And pray in that way, because actually what you're perpetuating is your stress around not having the money. But so what you do in that moment is you stop, you have gratitude, and then what you do is you imagine that you've gotten the phone call that's from the bank saying, here's the money you've asked for, or you find the money, or someone gives you the money, or you practice, or you don't know where the hell the money's going to come from, but you imagine what it would be like when you look in your bank account or you have that cash in your hands. What's the feeling in your body going to be like? What is that immense gratitude? What are the prayers of thanks that are going to come out of your mouth? And how indebted to the universe are you going to feel for the universe having your back? And I hope you get the energy of what I'm talking about, because that's the only way this works. And I did that at in December, where I needed to create I think it was $5,000 in about 2 days or 3 days in order for it to be okay for me to get on a plane and just go away for 5 weeks. I was like, I probably need to leave some money in the bank for the business. So I was like, I'm going to, let me just create some backup money here. And it was really stressful. And I went into that cycle. That's why I can tell you this so clearly. It's because it wasn't I think it was 5 or 10 grand, and I was like, where am I going to come up with this? What do I do here? I'm so stressed. This is so stressful. Oh God, what am I going to do here? Why does this always happen to me? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, hang on a minute. How is that going to create the money? It's not. How is that going to create the abundance? I remember actually going, oh my God, how am I going to, imagine I've had that 5 to 10 grand come in. I've seen it. What's going to go through my body? What's going to go through my mind? Oh my God, relief. Oh my God, gratitude. Oh my God, thank you, universe. I knew you would deliver. And then I went and did something. I think I went and got a massage. I think I went and got a massage, and I went, all right, I'm just going to go see how I can create this. I literally I literally went and had a massage or did something that I had to do, and I came back and it was sorted. It was sorted because something I hadn't even thought of. I made a phone call and someone said, "Oh yeah, you've got that other business, you've got that other venture coming up. So we'll put the money for your 2017 project in at the end of 2016." I was like, "Okay, sweet. I can get on that plane now." So,
And all you did was get a massage. I'm sorry.
I know it's been a really great tool for me to just be like, I probably just need to go get a massage when I need to create some extra money. So there's a trick.
Maybe it's got to do with the whole receiving and getting out of your head thing as well, right?
Well, because there's so many tools here, and most of the people, or a lot of the people that do sign up for my things, I kind of don't treat this as introductory classes, because so many of you have done Access Consciousness, or you've done the tools, you've done the classes. There's multiple aspects to that story if you look at it.
Exactly.
Out that 1 hour a day to do something nurturing for your body, having gratitude, asking questions. But the crux of it is I had to act like I had the faith that it was going to work out. I couldn't spend the next 24 hours sitting in that stress, otherwise it wasn't going to work. Okay. So
somebody has a question. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Mayank then says that once you're already living and feeling of what you think will happen in the future, isn't that you have already lived it, so now it will not happen? I think he takes it from the place where we say if you've already created your classes or your business in the future, then it actually hasn't happened because you felt it and you enjoyed it, and then you don't really actually have to go and create it.
Yeah, it's different to having I'm not talking about you've already done it all in your head and that's done and now you can move on to the next thing. I'm talking about actually just tapping into that gratitude and that feeling that you would feel in your body when it's already done. When you're able to tap into the energy of what it feels like for something to have already actualized, it's actually easier for your body to step into that being and there's a difference, and I want you to, it's a good question, but I want you to try and get really clear on this. The difference between always being in the future, and that's what I said at step 1, is you can't always be in the future. You've got to be present, but what you're doing is you're bringing that future into your present, and you're saying, I have that now. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God, for hearing my prayers. Or thank you, universe, for showing me what it feels like. Say you're trying to manifest something you've never experienced before, okay? You don't have an awareness or a feeling of what that's like. But what you do have is an awareness of how you would feel when that is complete. So if you bring that feeling that's future focused into your present, it's actually easier for you to step into it. And then the physicality of that creation can then come into form. But you're energetically creating it when you have the gratitude. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Can you, Atila, can you please give an example on this one?
So I'm just gonna say what I wanted to just put in right there, because I think it's also a lot to do with visualizing what that looks like versus sensing what your body does, like sensing.
Sorry, that's exactly the point. You know, when I said there's a difference between the law of attraction and just visualizing, you have to get out of your head. I'm not talking about you going round and round in circles thinking, I am a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire in your head. But if you're truly a millionaire, how would you actually feel? You probably wouldn't even think about the money. You wouldn't go around thinking, I'm a millionaire once you actually are a millionaire. Or you might the first day you hit $1 million in your bank account, but after that, you get used to it. And what you do is how would you feel? You would walk through life with a certain confidence. You would walk through life probably being really nice to everyone. You would walk through life. How would you walk through life differently? Because how would you be feeling differently as opposed to how you're currently feeling? Probably your stress levels around money would be different. So you replace the stress you have with money with gratitude. Probably all those things that you worry about, you would replace with feeling abundant and feeling fulfilled and feeling like you can do whatever you want now because you don't have to worry about where your next dollar is coming from. So you try and you feel that sensation in your body and in your heart. And if you're really struggling with wondering what I'm visualizing with this, I really feel it in my heart center. I can really feel gratitude, and most times when I take something and I experience it, I feel it in my body. So I'm asking you to really experience it in your body, not have it run around and run around in your head, because that's just called head tripping. Okay?
Okay, so Adela, yeah. Two things now. I was just asking you for an example earlier. Also, now what I would like to ask is that I'm out and out and a visual person, completely. So how do I bridge this for me where I'm bringing in that visual that I had?
Let me answer both your questions with one. Do you like chocolate cake?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want you to just visualize a chocolate cake. Okay, you can see it? Cool.
Right.
Now, I want you to imagine that there's a beautiful 3-layer chocolate cake with chocolate icing in front of you, and you're going to cut that cake, and you cut out a piece, and it's still warm, and you can smell the chocolate. And then you take a bite, and it's soft chocolate sponge with decadent chocolate icing, and you can just taste it and feel it in your mouth, and you just feel, oh my God, so happy and so excited and so blissed out with this chocolate cake. Okay.
Wow.
Is there a difference between those two experiences?
So what? Okay. I could feel it like every single bit when you described that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So this is, and how? Okay.
That's how you bring that into you, right? And in your life, you don't have me standing there taking you through a step-by-step process of how to actualize your dream home or your dream car or your perfect partner. So you need to do that process for yourself. What's going to be different when that amazing man who looks so wonderful and smells so great and makes you feel so warm and gooey and looked after and loved and protected, when he's standing in front of you, how is that going to be different in your life to what you currently have? And you actualize that feeling inside you, and then you're able to step into it.
Okay, got it.
Awesome.
Got it. That's going to be fun to play with now.
It's going to be so fun, guys. And if you ever have a doubt around your capacities and abilities to create and actualize things, I would say to you, you just haven't had enough fun and time and experience playing with this stuff, because what you can create is through the roof. You know, what I would normally say is it's fucking mind-blowing, but I'm trying to watch my language, so it's through the roof. Okay. All right, step number 3.
Watch your language.
I have new people joining this telecall, so I don't want them to think I'm a potty mouth. All right. The last step, guys, and this is obviously an important one, but step number 3 is called do the work. And in brackets, it says stay in the room. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the concept of staying in the room, but staying in the room means when shit hits the fan, when it's not going how you want it to go or expect it to go or how it should go, when something completely out of left field comes out and knocks you down, you have to stay in the room. even in classes, I've seen people just, zone out and leave the room. They're still physically there, but you hit a topic or have a conversation that they don't want to hear or are not ready for, they're gone. They're mentally and emotionally gone. And we do that a lot. So doing the work and staying in the room is around being present even when it's uncomfortable and even when it's inconvenient. That is the only way you get the results, because like I said, these steps, having gratitude, having faith, staying in the room, they're all easy to do when everything's going well and when it's tracking well and when you are in a good space, but it actually only really counts when when those things are not going accordingly. And so doing the work and staying in the room is also about having, and we'll talk about this a bit more in Life Whispering Club as we go through. The point of Life Whispering Club is that we've allocated, rather than me having just one telecall or one 2-day class where we try and cover everything, which believe me is what we do in our 2-day body whispering classes, but
True.
it's about taking just one topic and staying in the room with it and doing the work with it. Because what's actually required to deeply change any area of your life is actually a paradigm shift. And a paradigm shift for me, because I'm a body worker and a healer and a chiropractor, I believe that paradigm shift includes every aspect of your body and your being. So that's a physical paradigm shift, that's a physiological paradigm shift, that's a mental paradigm shift, it's an emotional paradigm shift, and it's a conscious, from subconscious to conscious paradigm shift. Now you take those 5 areas that you need to shift in any and every area of your life, with your body and your health, with business and money, with creating the life of your dreams. One class or one call actually isn't enough. But so Life Whispering Club is about dedicating 6 months, but one whole month to each topic. And within each topic, there's 2 modules. So you actually get 2 months and, multiple phone calls, meditations, body processes, and support to go in and clear, do you have a weight issue? Are you living in adrenal fatigue? Are you so overwhelmed with stress that your body can't cope? How do we create a paradigm shift to deal with that? If you want to shift your relationship with money, there's so many programs running in the background for most of us around money and wealth and abundance. How do you really create the paradigm shift for that? That's not only mental and from subconscious to conscious, but how do you actually integrate that into your physiological response, into your body? Because your body actually helps you in creating things in this life and on this planet as well. So it's about taking all those elements and actually having the time and having an appropriate place with a like-minded group of people to create what you want to create in your life. And that's why it's special to me, and that's why I feel like we can really create something awesome with this. So when I talk about a paradigm shift, I'm not talking about you shifting just your thought or just doing one clearing on something to change the topic. And don't get me wrong, that's still powerful and that's still good. But like many of you know, we've all been doing access or doing so much work for many years. And a lot of us, we still want work on the same topics or in the same areas because there's always more, right? So what's going to happen if you actually give yourself the time and space to really dive deep and to get really clear, and then to also hear what's going on for other people in that area? Because where can you connect, or where can you learn from, or where can you identify with what someone else in the group is talking about? So that's step number 3, is do the work. So whatever the work is that you need to do, if you can identify that you want to become a millionaire, or you want to become the fittest, healthiest, most amazing person with an amazing body, what do you need to do to achieve that? There is work, and work might be a word that you don't like hearing, or it might be the non-fun word for being present and showing up and doing what needs to be done to create the change you're asking for. But you basically need to do that. You need to show up, you need to stay in the room, you need to do the work. So whether you do that by yourself, whether you do that with a facilitator, whether you go out and you run a marathon or run 6Ks every day and eat really well to get the body and the shape and the health that you want, or you apply yourself to studying financials and becoming good at business and be willing to go through that process, you have to have all three elements. You have to have gratitude for where you are, and then so that you can have more. You have to have faith that you will get to where you're wanting to go and that it will happen, even though sometimes it feels like it won't. And then you've got to be willing to put in whatever's required. Never give up, never give in, never quit.
Yes. That was awesome. Does anybody have any questions? Because we have about 5 minutes left in the clock. If you're talking, you might be muted because we can't hear you. Seema, you had... Yeah, sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
You see, Adila, you talked about abundance and overwhelming gratitude.
Mm.
Now, overwhelming is a word whenever we use an access, especially. Does an infinite being get overwhelmed by anything? So, can you talk a little bit more about that?
When I say overwhelming, do you understand what I mean by that, though? Like, what do you associate
with anything and everything is how I interpret.
What do you associate with the word overwhelm? Like being completely surrounded and overcome by and completely enveloped in gratitude.
Right.
So I do understand what you're saying, and I'm not sure if you have maybe a negative association with the word overwhelm, but if you actually apply it to gratitude, and if you're able to get the sense of what I was trying to convey when I say have overwhelming gratitude, I think it's still applicable. I'm basically saying, are you just feeling it in every pore and in every cell of your body?
I've actually cried because I was in so much gratitude. In fact, I was speaking to Gary, and I was on a plane to Japan to host Dane, and it wasn't even Gary's class, but I was thinking of Gary and crying. And I told him later, and I was just like, I was so overwhelmed by that gratitude. I was crying. So honestly, I mean, we've all felt overwhelmed by that level of gratitude because it comes out in tears, and so therefore, or in ways that feel like
feeling like you're like I get it. Like I say, I feel like I'm about to burst.
Exactly.
Like, you'll see little kids and they are dancing and jumping up and down, or that, when they're so excited or happy about something, it's like it overwhelms or it overcomes every part of their being and their body.
So that's my point. It's possibly also the body thing, because the overwhelm can be what the body experiences.
Whether it's in being
I have felt the same thing. And I have cried. Yeah. But every time I cry, I make myself wrong for it.
Why?
Because I go back to the question, should an infinite being be overwhelmed?
I think if you said to Gary or Dane that you were overwhelmed with gratitude, I don't think that they would have a... I think that...
No, I really get what you're saying. You feel that in each and every cell of your body.
Absolutely. That's
when you get overwhelmed, and that's when you cry.
Yeah.
With gratitude.
And actually what Tulika was saying before is appropriate here. Is it actually those tears, is it that you're overwhelmed, or is it your body's way of expressing that every fiber of your being in gratitude? So it's actually just your body expressing itself. It's not that your body's overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seema has a question. She's had a hand raised for a while.
Yeah, hi.
Her virtual hand raised for a while.
Hi, Atila. Yeah. Okay, so my question is like very basic, related to the topic of the call. What does it actually mean to show up in your life? What does that mean?
Great question. Did you just hear what I talked about staying in the room? Okay.
Yeah,
So
I did, yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a similar concept. Showing up. I think you all know what it means to show up and to be somewhere, right? But to be present, to really show up. For example, here I am, and I've showed up tonight, and I've showed up and I'm doing this call, and I wanted to give you guys as much as I could that you could receive that would help you in the best way for this call tonight. Now, the reason I talk about it in that way is because a month ago, some of you most of you won't know this, but my nephew unexpectedly passed away a month ago. And it's been really hard for me to show up anywhere. And so when I talk about showing up, doing the work, staying in the room, for a couple of weeks, I didn't show up. I basically had to do what I had to do to get through that time in my life. And so then I had to make a choice. All right, do I take another month off work? Do I postpone Life Whispering Club for another month? Do I not see my clients anymore? Do I keep not showing up? Or at what point do I decide I have to get back into it? And then there's a difference between getting back into it, because that's what I should do, and really showing up and really being present and really saying, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to give it everything I've got. And that's what showing up means. Because if you show up in your life, you will undoubtedly create what you set out to create. If you truly show up with the presence that is available to you by you being you and 100% present and potent, and that's what we talked about in the last class that you were in, Seema, being present and potent in your life, you will create abundance. You will create everything that you set out to create, because the universe rewards you showing up. Truly showing up.
Absolutely.
I think Seema's
yeah.
Seema's
like, what room? She's on the road, and our networks are not the best on the phone. So I'm sure if she has something to any rejoinder, she'll get in touch with you directly. Anybody else? So do you want to just run us through the or do you want me to do that? What the 6-month calls look like? What are the first ones? And just quickly.
So Life Whispering Club, it's going to be over 6 months. Like I talked about previously, the point of the 6 months is to give you enough time to kind of create the amount of change that you're able to for each topic. And the other thing that I wanted to point out that's kind of really special to me about Life Whispering Club is I talked to you about how, because of who I am and the amount of work I do with bodies, it's important for me to always incorporate bodies and physiological change in the work that I do. So you will notice that those topics, they go body, and then they go business, and then they go life. Because I want to start with where we're all when we first start and we want to change. The area that kind of trips us up is the most basic or the most physical areas of our life. So how do you deal with a body that's overwhelmed with stress? How do you change adrenal fatigue? How do you stop, or how do you change hormonal weight gain? How do you get your body to start working and looking and feeling the way that you know it's possible for way to look and feel and act? And so the first two modules, so 1 month is addressing adrenal fatigue and stress. And adrenal fatigue and stress are a massive topic. Adrenal fatigue is the fact that we're living in such a busy world that, and this is where that word overwhelm does come in, many of our senses and much of our bodily functions are overwhelmed or bombarded with everything that we're exposed to. And so how are we able to create the greatest life and achieve the greatest amount of consciousness when our bodies are having a hard time adapting to this environment? So how do we change that? How do we change and aid our body in this response? So that's what the first module is about. Then we go into changing hormonal weight gain and health issues. So whatever health issues you have coming up that you feel like you keep needing facilitation on, or it keeps coming back, or you're not able to change, how do you really get in and create that long-term change? So then once your body's got the peace and the ease and the space it requires, the next thing that we need is money. And the next thing that we need to address is our physical needs, right? So then we start to look at, okay, how do you create a miracle business? Which is actually really a topic I'm quite excited about. And that's actually something I will be talking about a little bit on the Telesummit with Nilofer this Friday. So if you want more information, you can tune into that. So how do you create a miracle business? And then creating money as a byproduct of you. So if you truly show up and do the work, actually money just gets created as a byproduct of who you are. All your physical needs will be met. So how do you start to step into that space, as opposed to kind of running around chasing your tail, being caught up in the need to make money? All right. And then lastly, once your physical needs are met and then your financial needs are met, you have the space in your life to look at, how do I step into even more? How do I step into what's truly possible and what's available? And I've been wanting to do kind of like an advanced class or these advanced concepts for a while now. And I haven't really had the platform to do it because most people are still doing, the 2-day body class or just one-on-one sessions. So, by the time we've worked through those first 4 months, those last 2 months, we're going to have a group that's ready, hopefully, I'm sure, I'm confident, that's willing and able to look at creating a life full of miracles, like creating quantum synchronicity, which is the scientific term for miracles, and having that a part of your daily life. And the miracle called you. Who are you really? Who are you as an infinite being? And what are you really here to create? And what are you able to do? And what are your capacities? And what could you step into if you truly lived your life as the infinite being that you are? So that is the 6 months of Life Whispering Club. And so we do a monthly call, and then you have a meditation that comes out for you to listen to every day, so that you can really step into more with that particular area. And then I'm going to send you the body processes or the exercises, whatever is applicable for that month's call, to really create the change that you want to. Okay, so it's like, how do you get change in those areas? So that's the 6 months. So any questions about that, Julika?
So people can also do just one set of these for 150?
I have made it possible for you to only buy one session, because you might be someone who you only want to change your body. That's okay. Or you only really want to know how to create more money in your business. And that's okay, because 1 month is still enough to get the call, the process, and the exercises to really change that particular area. And, you know, if you then find that you want to step into more, sure, add on the other areas. So if you want to buy the whole package kind of up front or pay for it as a lump sum, not only will I give you a discount, so instead of $150 a month, it's only $780 total. You also get 50% off a one-on-one consult with me. And with one-on-one consults, what I always try and do is, if I know that this is a particular area you're working on, or this is something that you particularly want to change, I kind of make it a point to kind of incorporate or bring in how that's relevant to you throughout those ongoing calls or during the class, okay? So that's the value of getting the package up front and having a one-on-one session. Or you can pay a monthly subscription, so you can do the whole 6 months, but you want to break up those payments, that's fine. We'll just charge you every month for 6 months. Or like Tolika said, you can just join for the particular topics that you're interested in. I'm really all about choice and being easy and making it accessible for as many people as possible. So that's why it's like that for this time, and we'll see. Yes, it is Australian dollars, Aradhana. Thank you for the question. So it's 150 AUD a month, or it's 780 AUD for the total package. And yeah. And the exercises and body processes, not only are they verbal processing, they're literally exercises to do with your body, in terms of when I'm talking about adrenal fatigue and I'm telling you how to switch off your automated stress response, they're actually, what can you do to support your body? What stretches and exercises can you physically do to move your body in that particular way that it's actually going to change? So once you're out of a stress response and once you're fully present and conscious with your body, it's so much easier to create change. But can you imagine trying to change your money situation when your body's in survival mode and it's trying to get out of stress mode? It actually doesn't work that well. And that's why Life Whispering Club is structured the way it is we spend those 2 months on getting your body to a place where it's ready and open to receive and change and create. Then we receive and change and create with your financials. So then by the time you get to the end, you're not worried about your body and your health. You're not worried about your money and your business. So then you truly are willing. Because until now, how many of us have been at a space or at a time in our lives where we have the capacity to really dedicate time to living a life at the highest level when we're still worried about our day-to-day stuff? So that's why it's structured the way it's structured, so that we kind of really guide you through that process so that you transform. It's transformational work, guys. I do believe that. And I'm really excited about it, in case you couldn't tell.
Not one bit. And so are we. We're very excited about this call. I personally have to tell you that I've done sessions with Adila, and that's also another way of, having her brilliance part of your life. She does make you do the homework, and she makes you do the work. And I'm truly grateful for her, and the things that she picks up on are things that you might even miss. The things just so. She has a knack of finding the needle in the haystack. So I absolutely adore her, and just a thing that I want to put out there. She's not. And Adila, you might want to add to this or change what I'm saying right now. It's not access. Please don't think this is another access call that will also tell you how to POC everything and all of it. She's a doctor. She works with bodies. She has information besides access as well. If you're willing to deep dive into stuff that just isn't everything you've been hearing again and again, go for it. I mean, nobody here is trying to say that, oh, if this is part of this or if that is, she's a chiropractor, and she has abilities with bodies and capacities with bodies, just like we all have capacities with us. So this is also a rider to let you know that it does not need to go down the access route.
And I second that.
Thanks, ladies. These two ladies who are the hosts or promoters for this call, I really value them, because if there's anyone that gets the work that I do, it's these two girls, Aradhana and Tolika, and I'm so grateful to them. But, just touching on what Tolika said, in practice, I see about 100 bodies a week. And then I do this facilitation or access or kinesiology work with them. So times that by, the last 7 years or so that I've been in practice, I see so much human interaction and the way of the brain and human physiology and how we operate and what drives people and what makes people tick and why people respond in a certain way. And I've seen everyone from little babies who come into the world to 99-year-olds to everyone in between. And I've dealt with and worked with so many different cases, ranging from people who've had really abusive backgrounds to people who are multimillionaires to people who want to change how they function in relationship to foster kids who have come from really troubled backgrounds. When you take all of that information that you get from that many people and that many walks of life and that many bodies, and then you add access consciousness, and then you add my personality and my capacities, what you get is that's the work I'm offering you. And the other reason I do this work is just like I have that unique mix of what I can offer you, so do you. You have that same formula in your own way. So what is it for you, and what is the capacity that you can step into? And that's what we want to find out, because if you find out what that is, your life will be miraculous and magical too. And that's what I'm about. I'm about everyone having the best damn life that they can on this planet, because why else are we here?
And also that is that because people who've not done any modality and nothing, have no information, she just takes you through, and she's amazing. Adila is amazing to take you as a layman to the field you really look at. So do not miss this chance, guys. She is awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you for everyone that joined us and everyone that registered from around the world. And I really look forward. So Life Whispering Club starts on the 22nd of March, which is only about a week away. And the calls will be this time, and we will give you more information once you sign up about how that works and what each part looks like and how long it goes for and all of that. But for now, I can at least say that the first 90-minute call is going to be on the 22nd of March, and I look forward to seeing and having as many of you on for that as possible. And what else is possible? And I will send up for the link for sign up in a minute.
And if you guys are on the call but you didn't register because I sneaked you in with the link, please register, otherwise you'll not get a replay of this. Yeah, and if you have registered, you would have got a mail from her by now.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Adila.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.